Welcome to another episode of The Neophytes, a special series within the Never Close the Inquiry podcast, wherein my good friend Thomas Maybe and I sit down and talk about current issues in politics. We are not experts, neither of us, and that's kind of the whole point. If we repeated our conversation today with the benefit of more time to think things through, it would be different, maybe in small ways and maybe in big ways. The message we're trying to convey is that it's okay not to know. It's okay to keep learning, and it's okay to change your mind. In fact, it's probably good. The fact that you believed something before doesn't mean that when presented with new information or upon reconsideration, you're still locked into that prior view. It's okay, in other words, to never close the inquiry. So here we are, another episode of the Neophytes, here with Thomas on I would say, unseasonably warm Sunday day in Salt Lake City, but the entire winter has been unseasonably warm.
Yeah, well, we had a scare there for about a week where it
Kind of got
looked
cold for a second.
like it was kind of winter, and then decided it wasn't again.
Yeah, apparently it might snow this week, but it has been the weirdest winter.
Well, winters have been pushed like further and further back,
Yeah,
and then the last couple years they almost didn't happen at all, except
which is weird.
a couple weeks.
Yeah,
So
we still have tall mountains where there's snow, but
yeah, but they canceled the Olympic trials here
yeah.
this year.
Well, they
Um,
said it. Yeah, they had those scheduled for early December, I think.
Yeah,
And it is interesting because I think so. We're gonna have a brief segment on global warming. So the idea of global warming, it's not like this uniform increase of 2 degrees or whatever worldwide.
no, it's climactic changes on a
Yeah,
broad scale.
and it's kind of this free flowing sort of model thing where when wind patterns and all these other things shift, like Salt Lake has this winter at least, most days have been like 15 to 20 degrees above the average winter day.
Yeah, what you'd expect.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Salt Lake, I mean, it can be kind of weird anyway, but in a normal year, it felt like growing up, there was the potential it would snow anytime from the end of October through sometime in May.
Yeah.
I can remember Halloween of 7th or 8th grade. It was an awesome year. Got at the church at hot dogs and like wassail or whatever, and then did some trick or treat. Still young enough to trick or treat a little bit, so got a good haul, and then went over to Lauren Waldron's house. Shout out Lauren Waldron, probably not listening. Don't believe she's a subscriber. A brilliant doctor, but over her house and watched with a couple friends like half of Matrix Reloaded, which was awesome. It was a great Halloween. But anyway, it snowed like 6 to 10 inches or something like that. And then most seasons of high school baseball, we had a game snowed out in each month of the season. Like March, April, and May, you'd have a game snowed out. And then you might be able to play the next day because temperature would fluctuate so widely.
Yeah, and I especially remember it with football and football practices. Like, snow is miserable.
Yeah.
Just ruin everything. But it just doesn't seem to happen
Playing baseball in the
as
snow
much.
blows. When we were on our senior trip, we were at Imperial Beach in San Diego, or just south of San Diego, a good stone's throw north of Tijuana. That was a really fun trip, actually. But while we were gone, it snowed 6 inches here. That was first week of June. And I think people were skiing on 4th of July that year. Yeah.
Wild.
So hopefully 2034, when we host the Olympics, it'll be a good snow year. Because 2023 actually broke all records. They got more snow than ever before.
Yeah.
So, okay, who knows what's happening. Anyway, today we are eventually going to talk about the Epstein files. We've spoken before a little bit about Epstein Island, but I think we're going to talk more today. The DOJ released 3 million more documents. There's a huge amount of stuff that's just publicly available. The Epstein Library, the DOJ is has put out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if there's gaps in between what is parroted on Reddit and what is known through the quote unquote official channels that you tend to frequent.
Yes. Yeah. I would be. I think what is going to make its way to Reddit that doesn't necessarily make its way to the pages of the Wall Street Journal. It's going to be the stuff that is harder to corroborate, the stuff that's more salacious and lurid. Um,
Lurid.
that's a great word.
Uh,
Lewd, lascivious. There are a lot of good there are a lot of good words that people have invented, so you can talk about
evil.
Evil sex stuff without while kind of tiptoeing around it.
Mm-hmm.
But first, we wanted to. So we have to start with a quick note for our sponsors. This is on Sunday, so of course we first sponsor would be the Lord, who has also provided the water.
Amen.
And then we both of us have water. And then we wanted to have a brief segment on our favorite processed foods. We're calling this the naming it after myself. The Nick Hagen Awards for Achievement in Science. And it's really just who's come up with the best processed foods.
Okay.
So a couple of ones off the top. You can think for a second while I'm talking. But and just to note this for the audience, we have not prepared for this segment. I think my wife Kaylee was asking before, what foods we were going to list, and we don't know. So
I have a clear winner, but then after that,
okay, Kraft mac and cheese, is unbelievable. Kraft mac and cheese is unbelievably good, and is so much better than all the other like magic fancy science versions of mac and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And then honestly, like if you had an option between Kraft mac and cheese, and then a mac and cheese you make with like, a Mornay sauce where you make the bechamel and then you add various cheeses to it and mix it all up. And then you put it in the oven with perhaps with breadcrumbs on top and some Parmesan or something like that. Kraft mac and cheese might be better than that.
It's different. It's a league of its own.
Yeah, it has become its own category, but my gosh.
Yeah.
It's really good. Wait, what's your top? Your clear winner?
Circus animals.
Really?
So the cookies that are like pink and white.
Oh, those are. Oh, see the yogurt covered circus animals.
If those are
Is that yogurt?
If it's yogurt, then that's like
It might not be yogurt. Some sort of frosting.
Oh yeah, see that's the processed part.
Okay.
It's like it's just fat and sugar and chemicals, and it is amazing.
Okay, those are really good, actually.
Mother's Circus or something.
Well, when you first said circus animals, I thought you meant like the Barnum ones you'd get where it's just the plain cookie.
Yeah.
As a kid.
So
And those are fine.
Yeah, so it's those, but with America on top.
and they have sprinkles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are so good.
They're insanely addictive. I tried to use them as like a treat for myself when I was trying to lose weight, and it's like I first I tried to buy a bag of them, like a whatever it comes in, and it was like, okay, I can control myself. No, can't do it. So I was like, okay, now I'll try buying the packaged ones that come in.
So
they
you're
come in
like limited?
Yeah, so they come in like 12 packages.
Yeah.
And it's like that lasted like a day, and then after that I just started eating the packages like one after another. It's like, just one more package, So literally cannot help myself with those.
Oh man, yeah, those are dang good.
Yeah. So that makes the top of the list for me.
Oh man. Okay, that's a pretty good. That is not what I would have guessed. Wow, that's good. Yeah, nice.
I think the Mount Rushmore for me after that would be Oreos and Pringles. Pringles because of their slogan, which
What is the slogan?
Once you pop, you can't stop.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Which is,
Accurate.
as American as it gets.
Yeah.
And true, which is also an American trait,
Truth.
Honesty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? Captain America fights in is it Superman or Captain America? Truth, justice, and the American way.
I don't know.
Keep talking, and I'll look it up.
But Oreos is just the obvious one. But specifically double stuffed The regular's fine, but I find the sodium content to be overwhelming without the double stuff in there. That's my
In Oreos?
fat person science speaking.
Too much salt in Oreos?
Well, have you had an Oreo and like
Not in a while.
actually tasted it? It's pretty salty.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not the biggest Oreo guy.
Yeah,
I guess if you double stuffed with the good part.
I mean, it tastes salty to me, so
Yeah.
whatever that means. But yeah, just double stuffed guy. Sometimes I develop a strategy where I'll take like the cookie parts off and surgically remove the cream and put it on top of another one.
Oh.
And then remove the top of that one, put it on so it's like quadruple stuffed, right? And yeah. So that's on my list too.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
So congratulations.
Another
whether
one
or not you wanted to know that.
Another one I would add to my Mount Rushmore would be Cool Ranch Doritos.
Ooh.
Those are, I remember in elementary school, and maybe it's extended to high school. I think it was more elementary school though. But my mom would pack me a lunch. Like you go to Costco and you get these giant like things, like 18 packs of individual bags of chips.
Mm-hmm.
And you had the whatever the other Doritos one was, the orange one. Those were fine.
Yeah,
sometimes it'd be Cheetos.
Some call them Doritos.
Yeah, maybe that's right. Yeah. Cheetos are great. Maybe Fritos sometimes, although Fritos seem a little intense for just lunch.
Yeah, Fritos are more of a condiment on other things type of deal for me.
Sure, or they serve as a good delivery system for certain kinds of cheese dips.
Mm-hmm.
I think. But yeah, a few of the like from the 18 pack or 16 pack, however many it was, you'd get like 4 or 5 bags of Cool Ranch Doritos. Those were the good days. It's like, ooh, baby, a blue bag Doritos, delicious. Yeah, those are really good. All right, well, okay. Oh, and then just quick honorable mention to my favorite, I think, restaurant processed food. Big Macs are delicious.
Mm. The Big Mac sauce is very good.
Yeah, that is really nice. Okay. All right, now moving on to the Epstein files. So, and we're
smoothest transition in history.
Yeah, Big Macs and now New York financier Jeffrey Epstein. So, man.
What's your goal for this? What are we doing here?
What do you mean?
Are we talking about the whole thing?
I think we want to convince people that Jeffrey Epstein was bad.
Oh. Uh-oh. You might make enemies.
Tough lift, and yeah, we're putting ourselves on some strange hit list. No, we go like the scope of the conversation, like what all we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Kind of want to talk about whatever. So some general reactions. I want to hear what's circulating in the dark corners of the internet where you've done paid research, and have come armed with that. So I want to hear about that. Want to talk about some of the prominent individuals who have been connected to them, less so with reference to the individuals specifically, although we can talk some about that, and more. I think what's interesting to me about this, okay, so these are like kind of bigger questions. Because at the first level, it's, the question is what happened, who did what, who knew what when, all that. And that's that like first level of information. Then the questions are what you do with that. So Epstein himself is dead. Ghislaine Maxwell's in prison, but a whole lot of people are not in prison. And are not going to be going to prison, or not going to be prosecuted for anything in all likelihood. So the question, there's always a question of to what degree people are or should be ostracized from public life once stuff comes to light, and how you do that. So that's an interesting thing. And then I also think one thing I've kept thinking about is how pathetic it all is. Like how pathetic it is how many incredibly wealthy and powerful people, or not incredibly wealthy but powerful people because they're, professors at Harvard or wherever, uh, got sucked up in this guy's network. And I think the majority of the people who got sucked into his network probably did not do anything illegal with underage women. However, still a lot of patheticness. Yes, a lot of the messages that have come to light are just embarrassing. Just embarrassing.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay, go ahead.
Well, I think the biggest problem is that this is somehow political, and I know that there are reasons and good reasons for that, but I never would have thought that something like the Epstein files would have been a political issue. It's trying to find out who the pedophiles are.
So, okay, so couple of questions. How to you is it political? And second question, why to the extent it is political does that surprise you?
I think, I don't know about you, but most of the people I've ever talked to about pedophilia think it's wrong.
Okay.
And that it's the most disgusting thing a person can do. Or it's up there.
It's contender in the Olympics of disgusting things.
And when the FBI director and Pam Bondi and people say things about the Epstein files like we don't have the list anymore, or I guess first they said there was no list, and then now that it's come out that there's all these files and stuff, they're still kind of hemming and hawing. But for some reason, through I don't know how long this has been going on exactly, but Democrats or Republicans have not released any files on Epstein up until at least what we wanted. And now they started drip feeding it, and then they released a whole bunch of millions of files. And a lot of the redactions are, oh man, I'm thinking of all these things that bother me. I'm trying to be coherent, but
this is a podcast. There's no need.
Yeah, there's things that were redacted were some of the people that were implicated in the crimes, but part of the law that was signed for the Department of Justice to go through all the files said that you couldn't protect people's names just for their reputation or whatever. Like you have to release them unless they're victims.
Okay.
But they were shown to block the names of a lot of people that were involved, and the FBI had specifically made mention that there's like no corroborators, but then some evidence in the file suggested that there were tons of leads. I think it was over 10 at least when the first round were released of co-conspirators that they were investigating. Heard nothing about any of this, and then. Fast forward, you get more documents and tons of mentions of tons of people with varying degrees of involvement or hints to involvement. And it's insane that there's been no follow-up on any of this to investigate any further, because the official story right now is that Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein did everything themselves and there was no outside help. Like that's the official story, which is just outrageous with all of the documents that have been released, and that's just of the documents that they're letting us see. And to speak to how this has been politicized, there's been I don't know if it's hundreds or thousands of documents that they have released and then taken back that mention Trump, and and um, I don't know what they're trying to do exactly. I don't know. I would like to hope that it's planned incompetence by people that want the truth to be out there, or at least there to be some sort of accountability. But it could just be incompetence. And so it's if there if there's proof that there's been some shady business going down, especially involving pedophilia, I haven't met a single person that's been like, oh, we should just discover all the Democrats that did it,
Yeah.
and then stop, or we should just find all of the Republicans.
Yeah.
Any reasonable person that I've met or read a comment of online has been, let's actually get everybody that's involved and take it seriously, and let's stop protecting this system that is benefiting these people. And maybe worse comes to worse, like best case scenario is that the majority of these people that we're talking about really disgusting things were with consenting adults. But we already know that that's not true for the many victims that have already come forward. And now it's going through the legal process of trying to prove all of those things. But it has been politicized by both parties at different times. And I don't think the Democrats look much better. Again, trying to avoid the both sides are just as bad type thing, but like the Democrats have a lot to answer for here too, because there's a lot of them on the list. Like it's a giant mess where it's a political issue, but I think to most Americans who view it as getting justice against pedophiles, it's a huge deal. It's not a political thing. It's let's actually hold people accountable for what they do, because if people are allowed to commit those crimes and get away with it, then why do we have a justice system at all? Like, if it just doesn't make any sense. So, and I think it ties into a frustration that I'm feeling, and I think a lot of other people are feeling, of just injustice, that nothing's really going to happen to anyone that's done bad things. And so it feels like another opportunity for the people to be screwed over by not investigating any further. And the official statements from the FBI have been discouraging, because they're all like, well, we investigated ourselves and found no wrongdoing. We don't see potential for I can't remember how they worded it, but they said that they're not going to investigate it any further or something. So that's very troubling, and that's kind of why the whole thing frustrates me. I'm sure that was very clear.
No, well, let's try and to the extent it wasn't, let's try and nail it down. So this idea of like a separate system of justice for the elite and powerful, and then for the normies, that's frustrating.
Yeah, it just seems like that's been a theme recently, of the rich and powerful get to do whatever they want. And I'm sure that's always been the case, but it just seems extremely obvious during times like this.
Okay, this gets to I think this one gets to like a broader philosophical thing that I think is really interesting. So let's talk about this for a second. Because I think for some people, for some quote unquote normies, when they're on the outside of stuff like this, they see conspiracies. Not conspiracies in the like. There's more than one kind of conspiracy. There's conspiracy like, oh, we did something bad, let's cover it up. And then there's another conspiracy where it's like we're all going to meet in a smoke-filled room on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, and we're going to smoke a specific kind of imported Cuban cigar, and then we're going to swear a blood oath by taking a Bowie knife through it, or whatever. And I think these conspiracy, the Epstein stuff, I think it's like most of the stuff you can explain without resorting to a Bowie knife and Cuban cigars conspiracy.
Yeah.
In that, I think for people who have a lot of money, it's actually funny. One of the things about the Epstein files, when you're reading through a lot of the stuff and a lot of the connections that people had to him, where it seems like it's not like it was for the sex. There's some people where it was that, but then others where it was money. It was access to people. It was access to power. Where they're doing research on something and Epstein has been a big donor to them. So now they need Epstein. And they're just groveling basically. And that, there are people who might frankly have a lot of power, but then can get access to more powerful people through him. And then, and I forgot one other. Anyway, and then I think he was very good at preying on that. He was very good at forming connections with people, and then very good at kind of trying to put himself in the middle as the maven who is orchestrating meetings between high-profile people. And so now these people owe him something because he's introduced them to X, Y, and Z. And, he was the one who arranged the meetup with the, royal emissary of the Moldovan government, or whatever.
Yeah.
And now, eventually he has this network of people, many of whom rely on him or have received some benefit from him and are obliged to him in some respect, and see him either as a friend or I don't know. It's kind of gross, but I think so. Basically, let's say that you and we each know a certain number of people, and if we get in a sticky situation of some sort, like you and I, so I'm a lawyer, my dad's a lawyer, your dad's a lawyer. Like if we got in legal trouble, we could get good legal counsel very quickly. For people who do not have that kind of access to lawyers, it might take them a longer time. Maybe they don't have the money. Maybe they don't know the people. Like if they got in criminal trouble, they might get their best option might be a public defender. Maybe you get a good public defender. Maybe you don't. And they don't have anyone they can call for favors. They don't know someone in the mayor's office. They don't know someone with the district attorney. People at that level where you're like associates, like the person you can call, like, for instance, if you have committed a federal crime and you need a pardon, it is probably like if you know the president, your chances are much higher of getting that pardon, whether or not you're deserving. If you're just some random person who committed a federal crime and you're rotting away in prison and you're not related to anyone important, you don't know anyone important, you haven't broken bread with anyone important at Jeffrey Epstein's Upper East Side townhouse in Manhattan, you're not getting the pardon. Whereas, if like this guy, or like, if you want to get your kid into Princeton, whatever, really helps to know someone on the Princeton Board of Trustees or a major donor. Whatever. Yeah. And so I think a lot of these conspiracies are really just people acting normally or people acting in ways that many of us might be tempted to act, except they're billionaires.
So was what I said sounding conspiratorial to you?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because
it was not really a direct response to you.
Okay. Because I do think that that quote that's about don't attribute to malice that you can attribute to incompetence
or stupidity. Yeah.
Whatever it is. Like that applies to conspiracy theories for me too. Like
Mm-hmm.
if if you don't have to automatically think that there's a cabal of pedophiles
Right.
at the highest level of government that are also Jews
Right.
that are controlling the economies of Israel and the U.S. and have video evidence of Trump uh, pooping on a woman or something. Like these are all things I've read that people believe. Like,
Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe he did
and
it.
fair
I don't
enough.
know.
Fair. I mean, I don't know. Maybe,
I feel like pooping on a person to be pretty
dude.
pretty tough.
That rumor came out when it was like right before he was meeting with Putin,
Yeah.
and the picture of them leaving the meeting that they had with each other.
Yeah.
Trump looks horrible. Like
Okay.
he looks like he saw a ghost and he's like gonna die.
Okay.
And Putin has this shit-eating grin on his face.
Wait, what's the date of the picture?
I don't know. I don't remember. I just saw a picture of it a couple days ago again, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, that reminds me. One of the people who had some sort of association with Epstein. It's on this list of prominent individuals mentioned in the Epstein files. Epstein told Sergei Lavrov, who's the Russian Minister of Foreign Affairs, and a guy, you look at him and it's like, okay, like if he has not killed people personally,
Mm-hmm.
like he knows where the bodies are buried, like paid for the space or something, like,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't trust a ton of high-profile Russians, but anyway, Epstein told Lavrov that he could give insight on Donald Trump to Vladimir Putin, which, among various other things, frankly, might be accurate, but also seems kind of treasonous.
Hey man, if you're a power broker, you're
Yeah,
you're only on your own team.
I guess. Yeah. Oh gosh, this was the grossest one. Sorry. Slight side note. The grossest among the grossest. I mean, there's pretty stiff competition for this.
Yeah.
But among the grossest of the, again, prominent individuals mentioned in the Epstein files. So these are like people whom people would know even if they hadn't been mentioned in the Epstein files.
Yeah.
But Miroslav, okay, I'm going to mispronounce his last name, and I want to disclaim to any Slovak people that this should be interpreted as offensive solely to him, and that I mean no offense to your great people or history. But Slovak politician Miroslav Lajčák, we'll call him, in late 20, where the fact that I don't watch TV kind of hurts me because I've never heard the names pronounced.
Well, there's too many people to really be mentioned on TV.
It's a long list.
Like they're too busy talking about the Clintons and Bill Gates and Elon Musk and Trump to talk about much else.
Yeah, that's the exciting stuff. Yeah, so in late 2025 and early 2026, Epstein files revealed extensive correspondence between Lajčák and Epstein occurring between 2017 and 2019. Again, so Slovak politician, former Minister of Foreign and European Affairs for Slovakia, and former President of the UN General Assembly. So like a big international deal. Anyway, according to the records, Lajčák allegedly asked Epstein to introduce him to young girls and boasted that Epstein had not yet seen him in action. Let me just get Lajčák's age. He was born in 1963, so he's 62 years old. In terms of his physical appearance, he doesn't look like George Clooney. Kind of a,
like a potato.
Yeah, better hair than. Like he has better hair than us, but
well, money can buy a lot of things.
Yeah, good point. He's been to Turkey. The files reportedly show that Epstein responded by offering him young girls and their sisters, and Lajčák explicitly requested invitations to participate in Epstein's private games. Lajčák's name appears more than 300 times throughout the documentation. And then separately, like he offered to present Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico as a suitable political figure for the agendas of the American far right and strategist Steve Bannon. He explicitly characterized Fico as the right figure for the strategic goals discussed with Epstein, who apparently was giving people all sorts of political and tax advice, which I'm skeptical about. We'll get to that in a minute. Epstein wanted to establish a network of far-right political groups with Bannon in Europe, and Lychak said Fico could play Steve's game. So this Miroslav Lychak, like, that's unbelievably gross.
Yeah.
Seems
No
damning.
No need to investigate, anything to do with that, though, right?
Well, the FBI, like, he's Slovak. Let the Slovak government take care of
that. That's just like one example of one thing in the files. Like, there's clearly, I shouldn't say clearly.
By the way, while photographs confirmed their personal connection, Lychak maintained that the interactions with Epstein were strictly professional and routine for his diplomatic duties. He resigned a few days later.
Yeah, and it's interesting that people are suffering in different countries, but the U.S., it's like a nothing burger for the most part. I'm hoping...
You think it's a nothing burger?
It's a nothing, the way it's been, as far as consequences so far have gone. Like, you have people getting taken off official postings and resigning and stuff. I think there's been far less of that in the U.S.
Okay, let's think about it. So we know some people, the professors are taking it pretty hard. So Larry Summers stepped back. So Larry Summers, a very prominent economist, former U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, former president of Harvard, and he stepped back from teaching while Harvard reviews his links to Epstein. So there you go. Huge consequence.
Yeah, he can't have his comfy tenure job anymore.
No, I think he still has that. He's just not teaching.
Oh wait, yeah. So there's just been no criminal action.
Oh gosh. So, Ken Starr, instrumental in securing a plea deal for Epstein in 2008. In released emails from 2016, Starr and Epstein are affectionate, with Starr signing off with hugs or love. Okay. A lot of these emails that people are sending to Epstein end with weirdly affectionate stuff like hugs and love. Is that how normal people email?
I think it's their attempt to form a bond so they can take advantage. I mean, that's what I would assume.
It is incredibly gross. And
so I don't know if Epstein was probably either started that in their replies so they would feel like they're okay to express emotion and like try to, if I was a criminal mastermind, I would be trying to emotionally manipulate these people into feeling like I cared about them.
I think Epstein did a really good job of that.
Yeah. And it's like, and a lot of, oh man, who was it? It was I think it was a Norway, I don't know what kind of system of government they have. Is it prime minister?
Oh, they have a, yeah.
Yeah, so it's either the prime minister or the prime minister's daughter or something had sent something to him.
It's, I don't know exactly what their system is like, but it's not totally dissimilar from that of the UK, where they have a parliamentary government, but then they also have a royal family. And I think it was... I gotta find her.
I learned a lot about that family after the Epstein files because they have a wild story.
It's Mette-Marit, Crown Princess of Norway. And I would again note that we intend no offense to Norway, especially because I'm actually 1/8 Norwegian.
Ah.
Yes. Hagen.
Wow.
I
thought family. That was German.
How dare you? I do mean offense to the people of Deutschland. No. Norway. There are a lot of German Hagens, but Norwegian. Anyway, so possibly a distant cousin, a member of the Norwegian royal family. Mette-Marit, Crown Princess, mentioned over 1,000 times in the Epstein files, with communications spanning 2011 to 2014. I want to note that Epstein was convicted. He had his plea deal.
2008.
So this is post that.
Yeah.
She spent 4 days at Epstein's house in Palm Beach in January 2013. Yeah.
Who hasn't, though? Also,
there was that one time we were...
the news also says that I think it was someone on Fox News was like, it's not a crime to party with Epstein.
Technically true.
And it's like, good job. Exactly. But like, what about the stuff that wasn't? Like, we don't care about the partying, like stuff that adults do with consent and all that. That's great. It's all the other criminal activity that care
Yeah,
about.
well, and we'll talk about the great stuff. That is one of the harder things to square for me. I read, there are a number of emails with people like, Richard Branson, the Virgin. I was gonna say the Virgin billionaire, not a virgin. The guy who founded like Virgin
Virgin,
Records and all that. Yeah,
yeah,
like the Virgin Empire
yeah,
is his. I forget how he chose the name, but it's not because of his own chastity. Um, but yeah, he said something about how, or maybe it was someone else who said, I think it might have been someone else who said, among those circles, the consensus as of like 2011 was that he had made an innocent mistake, potentially been preyed on it, and had intimate relations with a 17-and-a-half-year-old girl.
mm-hmm.
So it's hard to square that, and like people believing that, or maybe it's not hard to square. Maybe it's what happened. Hard to square that with him having. I saw one source said like he had like 1,000 victims.
Yeah,
Which is a very high number.
Yeah.
As far as victims go.
I mean, you can, as human beings, we can tell ourselves all sorts of stuff and convince ourselves that people are different, that they're changed, and
Yeah.
as long as we're getting an advantage out of it, we can kind of spin that any way that we want. Of course, that's taking like the less favorable view of the people that were involved with him after 2008. But yeah, I feel like there's just so much. I'm sorry, Kaylee. I have to edit some of my words today, but like the kiss assery of a pedophile.
Oh,
like I just like Peter Attia.
Oh, so bad.
It's like disgusting. Like
So for those who are not familiar with Attia, who's Attia? And remind me to get back to Ken Starr in a second.
He's a guy that went to medical school and dropped out, and then
no, he didn't drop out.
I think he did. Look that up.
I will. No, I think
he might have gotten it eventually.
You're confusing him with a guy that's prominent in the one of the Means siblings who's prominent in the RFK universe. No, he went to Stanford. He never completed his residency, but he was a resident in surgery at Johns Hopkins.
That's what it was.
Yeah, but no, he was like a legit. He went to Stanford, got his medical degree, and then was with McKinsey. But he has been like a wellness influencer and doctor with private clients for some number of years.
Yeah, he's
now.
like a longevity guy.
Yeah, he got really. I became aware of him through the Chris Hemsworth documentary, Limitless with Chris Hemsworth, the first season of that. He's giving Chris, who's not in the Epstein files, I think. Well,
I mean. You can't really say that these days.
Okay. He is, to the best of my knowledge, he's not in documents that have been released. Anyway, but anyway, he became famous, more famous to the general public, I think, through that. He has a very well-known podcast, which is very medically jargony for the most part. And then he wrote a book called Outlive about improving metabolic health, and I actually read it. So now that's maybe one of my closest associations with someone mentioned in the Epstein files, except possibly for Bill Gates, because I use a lot of Microsoft products. Anyway, sorry, go on about Attia.
Well, he essentially he tried to make an excuse as for what he did, but he basically thanked Epstein for sending a package or something, or like the package was delivered, like it was super weird sounding. And he was also trying to meet with him. I can't remember the specifics of his personal life, but he had like, it was either a traumatic event with the child.
I think that's it.
And he was basically trying to meet up with Epstein during the same time period, or he did, and I'm not sure. Like that, like all this stuff is difficult to prove with no doubt. So like it's not worth getting into that, but there's very shady, weird stuff happening with a person like that.
Yeah.
And there's lots of examples of that happening. Like reading the actual files has been like Epstein probably thought he was a god. Like he had so much influence over these people that were just seemingly just falling, just face planting themselves in front of him, trying to get advantages.
Yeah, like to a crazy degree. That one of my favorites. So Leon Black, who he's a former CEO of Apollo Global Management, huge private equity.
Apollo Burger.
Apollo Burger. Yeah. Salt Lake burger chain, which is very good, not as good as Crown Burger. My personal opinion. Salt Lake has a lot of good Greek founded burger joints.
I think you defend the Greek community in Utah by saying that, but that's okay.
Crown Burger is Greek too.
Yeah, but you're offending probably their family that owns it, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
According to Pat, who I know, who says that everyone in there is related and has different restaurants.
So yeah, Crown Burger is delicious. Apollo Burger is very good. Mad Greek, fantastic.
Yes. Z Best Greek. I don't know if that's even still around.
And then Greek souvlaki.
Yeah.
Also nice.
What is it? Pickles. Is that what it's called?
That one I'm not familiar with.
It's on 39th.
Oh, and then an obligatory shout out to one of our longtime favorites. Where we should go for lunch soon. The other place.
Oh, we need Trey to come back. We can go.
Dang good. Anyway, Leon Black, so big time private equity billionaire. He paid Epstein a total of $170 million for what he characterized as tax and estate planning advice, and told investors after Epstein's death that he was completely unaware of Epstein's misconduct. Documents include a list of payments from Black to a former model connected to Epstein, labeled as gifts, totaling more than $600,000. Weeks after Epstein's death, J.P. Morgan Chase filed a suspicious activity report for transactions conducted by Black, as well as Glenn Dubin, Alan Dershowitz, and Leslie Wexner, totaling about $1 billion. These reports were unsealed by a federal judge. Anyway, so $170 million for tax and estate planning advice. I worked at a major law firm in New York City. It has a very good tax department. They're very, very good. If you look at various rankings of who has good tax lawyers, like Skadden is it's been number one for a while. $170 million is a ludicrous amount to pay to anyone or any collection of companies and people for tax and estate planning advice.
Well, I know this is going to hurt your pride, but he was just better.
Oh. Yeah, that could be.
Yeah. He cuts through the bureaucracy, okay?
Yeah.
It's on a level you wouldn't understand.
Okay. All right, that might be true.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad I convinced you.
Yeah, maybe that's the explanation why. Because my feeling is like you could go to the best, most expensive law firm in the world and get really advantageous to the point of it, like normal people looking at it and thinking you are absolutely cheating the system, tax setup and estate planning, and do that every year. And you would still, over the course of like 20 years, spend like $5 or $10 million. Wow. If you had associates, like even lawyers doing way more time than they needed to. Like it just, like it's an insane amount of money.
So it's somewhat fishy.
I think it's fishy.
One might say.
I think it's fishy. Back to Ken Starr briefly. Because I wanted to mention him, because the funny ones are where there's like someone, a public moralist who has had,
Noam Chomsky.
Oh gosh, yeah, I'll get to him in a second. We're just going down the highlight list of people. Just embarrassing. Anyway, so Ken Starr became famous by being independent counsel during the Clinton administration. We should talk about Clinton in a little bit. Incidentally, it doesn't seem like
is he in the files? Oh,
he is absolutely in the files.
weird.
It seems at this point like he might not have actually committed crimes in connection with Epstein.
It's always a very interesting line of what's a crime and like
and Clinton, to be clear, Clinton could have never met Epstein and would have a long list of very real issues. But he did meet Epstein, flew on his plane a number of times in the early 2000s. It's not clear that he ever. It seems like he did not go to the island, and he might not have gone to parties of the sort that Miroslav Lajcak was going to.
Yeah, I don't know that much about the specifics of what Clinton's done.
Well, and as you know, as loyal Democrats, it's important for us to not know that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I try to stay as ignorant about Democrats as possible so I can.
Yeah, and anything bad that he does, I immediately assume, like it's like a Mad Lib, where I try to put Trump's name in for all of the Clinton mentions.
Yeah, it's similar to the Biden or Obama ad lib that Trump has adopted.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's exactly right. But Ken Starr, independent counsel during the Clinton years, he did the big investigation on Monica Lewinsky. It came out, his conclusion was that Clinton had committed perjury, and that led to the impeachment. And he was later Baylor University president. He's had some issues with that because there's a Baylor University.
There was a huge scandal there,
sexual assault scandal. That's correct. And he discussed that with Jeff Epstein.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, and the released emails from around that period, Starr would sign off with hugs or love. It's just, embarrassing. Can you imagine if that was like your grandpa or your dad? Oh, gosh.
Disgusting.
And they discussed, Epstein commented that he missed talking with Starr. Yucky. And then in 2017, Epstein asked Starr for advice on how Lawrence Krauss, who's a very famous physicist and a very well-known physicist and professor and also prominent in kind of the anti-theist communities, I think, how Krauss should handle the sexual misconduct allegations levied against him. Obviously, Epstein had a lot to say during the Me Too era.
Right, yeah.
Which is not super surprising. Which leads us, I think, to Noam Chomsky. Oh, gosh.
Is he dead?
No, he's 97.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I thought
the man
he passed away at some point, but...
Not at this point. No, he's... Pearl Harbor happened on his 13th birthday.
Wow.
Give you an idea how...
That's crazy.
Well, that is kind of crazy, actually. But yeah, he was born in 1928, December 7th. Chomsky... oh, gosh, then we get to talk Woody Allen. Man, there's so many gross people. Yeah. Oh, Woody Allen and his wife, both. Yuck.
Yeah, I feel like we could literally go on for hours just talking about just the people that we know.
Yeah.
Like from pop
They're
culture
like famous.
Stuff.
Yeah. So Chomsky, he's kind of interesting in that, and this is where you touch people who are leaders on both sides of the political aisle. Like Steve Bannon had a lot to talk about with Epstein in the couple of years before his death.
He was like his publicist. Like his PR agent.
Oh my gosh. But so Chomsky, like he was hanging out with Epstein, like in the mid 2010s. And in March 2018, approximately $270,000 was transferred from an Epstein-linked account to Chomsky. Chomsky stated that the transfer involved rearrangement of my own funds related to the disbursement of common funds from his first marriage and did not involve one penny from Epstein. Now, I will say this. Sure, maybe that's possible, and I guess Jeff Epstein was a financier, and maybe he was helping Noam with his stuff. But it is a bummer when $270,000 of your dollars, which kind of sounds like a lot of dollars. Granted, like to Leon Black and some of the billionaires that were friends with him, probably not. Maybe to Noam Chomsky, not really a ton. But it's a lot of money to just be hanging out in Epstein's accounts. Anyway, Chomsky told the Wall Street Journal that he met occasionally with Epstein to discuss political and academic topics. By the way, we did not introduce Chomsky. He's like one of the most famous leftist academics of the last 100 years.
Did he get a Nobel Prize for something, or did he win like any big award for something in a field? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Because I feel like
awards. He's won a lot of big stuff
like
that
he's like made quote unquote advancements in a few fields.
Yeah, linguistics primarily. Yeah, he like the most influential linguist of the last 100 years. Sometimes called the father of modern linguistics. So a major figure in analytic philosophy and one of the founders of the field of cognitive science. And a pervert. Maybe.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. In 2019, after Virginia Giuffre, oh gosh, I don't know how she pronounced her name. I just know. So Giuffre is how you would pronounce it, I think, in the Italian. But she's the Epstein victim who did a great job blaming him publicly and a number of other figures, and then took her own life some years later. But her accusations went public in 2019. This is the same year that Epstein killed himself.
Did he?
Or he perished.
I see you're taking the official state position, sir.
Taking the official state position. Yeah. But Chomsky advised Epstein to not comment on it because that would provide additional negative public attention, adding, I've read the full email.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah. And what's fascinating about that email is it's written pretty well. Like, it's written by someone that, like,
he's a good writer.
Yeah, like he's not writing an email. Like, it doesn't seem like he's writing an email. Like, he's like putting some actual effort and thought into this email he's writing. And it just got me thinking, like, it seemed like if someone sent me an email like that, I'd be like, oh, they use ChatGPT.
Okay, that's really funny because I would be. So he did not.
Well,
and for the record, I think I write emails that coherent with some frequency.
Right. But I don't see emails.
But a lot of the other emails people were writing to Epstein, even from very powerful, educated people,
were much extremely more casual and like
not just casual, like juvenile, with a lot of misspellings that they didn't bother to fix. No capitals. Kind of stuff. I kind of hate that stuff actually, but
and I love that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise you. I kind of hate it. There is this thing, at least in the legal profession, where it's like. Sometimes with, so generally speaking, emails get less and less formal the more senior someone is. So, like an email that just says THX, thanks.
So you see it as like an offense to their honor, of your forefathers. If you send an email that's like a little casual, it's like, oh, he hasn't earned that yet.
Oh if someone's
needs
junior
to
does that, it's like no, you need to suffer.
He needs to cough up blood and whatever else they do to Hayes lawyers. I don't know.
You swallow your own blood. Don't cough it up. No, granted, these are all very senior people, so they can kind of do those gross things. But it is funny to see Epstein like sending people ideas about usually stupid things they should do to help themselves publicly or form a relationship with the prime minister of Svedborgia or whatever, and it looks stupid because there'll be a dozen misspellings and just doesn't seem that well thought out. Like the one where
sent from my BlackBerry.
Yeah, who was the one? It was I think it was him talking about Woody Allen. I can't remember if this was an email he sent or someone else sent to him. But whether they're talking about Woody Allen rehabbing his public image by doing a stand-up act and having Jon Stewart or someone like him do the intro.
Jon Stewart.
And I just you have to be so disconnected to think like what Woody Allen needs at this time to get back in the good graces of the American people is a tight 45-minute stand-up act. Like that's gonna do it.
It's bizarre. It's like a ketamine-induced hallucination.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, people. Turns like when people have ideas like that, it's like, oh, that's how you can like make bad movies and stuff. So you think these ideas are good, and then not to talk to normal people. Anyway, but Chomsky, among the things he wrote, were he advised Epstein to not comment on Giuffre's accusations because that would provide additional negative public attention, adding, "That's particularly true now with the hysteria that has developed about abuse of women, which has reached the point that even questioning a charge is a crime worse than murder."
Hysteria. How dare we be upset about abuses against human beings? You know?
Yes.
That's messed up.
Yeah, which has reached the point. Yeah, and now, granted, there are some people who went down during the Me Too era.
Those poor souls.
Who we think probably actually might not have done anything that bad. Like Bill Cosby. No, not like Bill Cosby.
Yes, but there's a danger in all or nothing rhetoric about.
You can be over-inclusive.
Yeah.
It is genuinely possible.
Yeah, and you just need to be smart about it. And did the Me Too movement go, quote-unquote, too far? I don't know. In my estimation, it did a lot more good in a general sense of women don't like getting taken advantage of, and it happens too often. So let's knock it off.
That wasn't what I took away from it.
What did you take away?
That powerful man. No. Yeah, no, you're right. The batting average was very high.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say if it wasn't 1,000, it was pretty good, and it was a good corrective. And anytime you have a good corrective, you're going to have there is going to be some collateral damage. Maybe some people who did something dumb, but not necessarily
which isn't
evil.
Condoning it or saying it's okay or anything, but that's just a fact of what happens when there are movements, and then everyone can say whatever they want with little to no burden of proof necessary.
Sure. But where Noam Chomsky is saying that this hysteria that has developed about abuse of women, by the way, sending this to a guy who's like a federal charge,
who's clearly abused women, you know,
a lot of
like
them.
Legally,
like you know, in a court, like he reached the plea deal, the sweetheart plea deal, ridiculously sweetheart plea deal, where people are apparently taking away that he accidentally had sex with a 17-year-old, which I think was not what happened.
Yep.
Maybe he accidentally had someone who was 17 in the sense that was accidentally old for him. But like a genuinely horrible guy.
Uh-huh.
So hysteria about Epstein, I'm not sure it was hysteria, but which has reached the point that even questioning a charge is a crime worse than murder. And Mr. Chomsky, I recognize it's hyperbole, but it doesn't read well in retrospect.
Yeah, I feel like his...
Or maybe then spect.
One of his head is... never mind, I'm just not going to say it. Just keep it to myself. Just very dumb.
Oh, my gosh. But, there's so many people that were connected to Epstein. Bill Gates, yikes. Yeah, emails allege that Gates had tried to surreptitiously give medication for sexually transmitted diseases that presumably he had picked up from some strange...
From Russian girls that Epstein provided.
Yikes.
And he's like, hey, I need to give these drugs, but I need to give these drugs to my wife without her knowing.
Yeah.
Can you help me out? He's like, LOL, GTFO.
Yikes.
And I don't think Melinda Gates had an opportunity to say something about it, and she kind of...
I watched that.
Yeah, she kind of sidestepped it a bit, which...
I think it was a professional response. It makes her very sad. And
yeah, and imagine being married to someone like that. That would get an STD, and then the person that you trusted with procuring the women, going back to them and being like, okay, well, you screwed me over. Now you need to provide drugs so I can hide it from my wife. Like,
because I think I gave her something.
Yeah, like
I might give her something.
That amount of betrayal is just crazy.
I would, I think that would be pretty solid grounds for
divorce. Yeah,
for divorce.
Yeah.
And like she came out of it economically in a strong position. She's a bajillionaire, but like I would be distressed if I found that someone was trying to do that. it gets to one of my other philosophical things about this. What is so just incredibly pathetic and gross about it is that it's not just that they're having intimate relations with people outside the bonds of holy matrimony. There are so many. Let's just look at, like, for a second. Let's think about wealthy people generally, wealthy men, because it seems to be mostly men that are like it seems somewhat rare. Like you don't have stories about, like, like Julia Roberts hooked up with a bunch of 20-year-olds like Panama City Beach for spring break. It's usually like guys. So we'll just talk about the guys for a second. There are loads of wealthy dudes who do all sorts of despicable, well, let's not call it despicable, who do all sorts of sexual stuff outside the bonds of matrimony, sometimes with women much younger than they are, without running into trouble with the law and without doing anything, like without associating themselves with convicted pedophiles. Like if, there are stories about all sorts of famous athletes where it's like they are normally involved. Like, like we're seeing like a lot of, like, their regular standard is a threesome, like they're doing all sorts of things that normal people do not do. And then you have, you could run down like the hall of fame of gross older guys with younger women who are doing it, and everyone's like, that's gross, but it's not illegal. And they're not, they're not importing women from Latvia. Like Bill Belichick, for example.
That was what I.
Yeah, he's a tip of everyone's
tongue.
tongue.
Very very easy one. To
he's
think of
he's in his 70s. His girlfriend is mid-20s. Former cheerleader. And you know what? That is disgusting and it's weird, but
it's their deal.
It's their deal. It's their deal, and no one can look at them and say that is illegal, and now we have to cancel everyone and possibly prosecute everyone who's associated with Bill Belichick. No. Who are the others? The all-time, well, there's Leonardo DiCaprio. So, he...
Have you ever seen his girlfriends depicted on a graph before?
How their age just stays constant.
Yeah. It's like it shows his age as it goes up. His girlfriend's age, it's like 21, 22, 23, 24. There's like one that's 27, and then all the rest are back down. It's like, okay.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, okay.
Hey, and you know what? That's good for him.
It's legal if he thinks that's more fulfilling than
if that's what he wants,
And okay. The all-time Hall of Fame one. So, have you heard of J. Howard Marshall?
I don't know.
Have you heard of Anna Nicole Smith?
Yes.
Okay. So Anna Nicole Smith, who was in the Naked Gun films, she was, I think, it's like Playboy Playmate of the Year in 1993. She was a famous blonde, buxom lady who became famous for her buxomity and such. In 1994-ish, married J. Howard Marshall, who, to the best of my recollection, was an 89-year-old oil tycoon who at that time I believe was confined to a wheelchair.
Oh, I think I've seen pictures.
It's one of the, again, nothing illegal, one of the all-time grossest things that has ever happened. Just in terms of gross. Anyway, he died a year later at 90, and then there was tons of litigation about what would happen to his estate.
I bet.
There were some criticisms of her at the time that she was marrying for money, which she denied.
How dare they? Can a girl just fall in love,
Yeah, I don't know. He'd had a lot of interesting experiences, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He was 62 years her senior. Yeah. So, by the way, that's gross. Like he's
that's a little more than average, but
yeah, he's 62. Like his future wife is born, but he had the decency to wait until she was 28 years old.
Wow.
Okay. And the point being, like, if you are super rich, or super famous and are both, like, if you want to, if your goal is to parlay that fame and wealth into betting younger women, there are easier, more legal ways to do that than sex trafficking people from Eastern Europe.
So this is a good, better, best scenario for you, right?
Wouldn't it be bad, or baddest?
It'd be, if basically what you're saying is these dudes chose poorly.
Unbelievably poorly.
Because, and that's why the outrage about kind of blatant open pedophilia is a thing, because why would you associate with a guy that does that? To get something else.
It's like what did you...
If you want the legal version of that, like, go find someone that does that. Like, don't go to the pedophile.
Like, there are so many ways to, like, if that is your goal, and generally I think we would say, if you're married, your goal should be fidelity and these nice things.
Unless you're in a polyamorous relationship, you need to be inclusive of these things.
Sorry. Perhaps you have an open marriage. Perhaps it's a polyamorous relationship or arrangement. To each their own, I suppose. However, like, if your goal is to, like, your desires are of a prurient nature and you wish to satisfy...
Prurient?
Don't worry about it. Anyway, if your natural urges are leading you in such a way that you need to, satisfy yourself outside the bonds of holy matrimony or whatever, it is not difficult to do that without doing some, like, generationally bad crime.
True.
Like, let's imagine for a moment that you have $1 billion. No, let's imagine for a moment that you have like 80 billion, and maybe you founded one of the largest, most successful companies in the history of the world. Okay. And maybe you're not the hottest, okay, but you have 80 billion.
Rude.
Right. Sorry, Mr. Gates. But you have 80 billion, some huge amount of money. You're getting Russian girls imported? You kidding me?
Okay, well, imagine if Epstein's like the Uber of prostitution. Okay,
I think a pimp is that the formal term?
Well, no. I'm trying to, like, I'm trying to make it, like, I'm trying to emphasize the convenience factor, because maybe when you're rich and paranoid, you already know that there's a source, and so maybe you're thinking, well, I could try to find another avenue to do this, but I know that there's already this guy, and I know a lot of other guys do it too, so it's got to be safe, And
Bill Gates lives in Seattle.
Yeah, but he can just get on a plane. Everything will be taken care of. It's like a full service service.
Oh,
I'm trying to think here. Okay, it's like you go on The Price is Right, and they give you a trip to Panama.
Okay,
and so, but instead,
not totally following you.
Instead, Epstein's giving you a trip to his island.
Okay,
and you're not quite sure of the details, but like, it's going to be good. I don't know why these people would do it, other than it was convenient and proven to be safe in some capacity, so that he just...
Apparently not in the sexual sense, or sexual health sense.
Well, apparently not.
Yeah. Man, it's freaking gross.
The Uber of
I think pimp is the term you're looking for.
I feel like that's too it's too nice of a term. So I'm sure there's some friendly neighborhood pimps that don't do any damn.
I don't know. I know Snoop Dogg worked as a pimp.
Which
makes it.
There's a lot of people that do it.
Sure.
And they take advantage of women.
Yep.
And Epstein just had a system down where he got enough famous people involved and extended that influence. And whether it was his main gig or maybe his main gig was trying to make money through really shady means, and part of it was manipulation through forcing people, or not forcing people, but manipulating people into sexual relationships and then having video evidence of it, um, pictures, and then essentially getting whatever he wanted from there. I'm he Something he was offering was attractive to a lot of rich people.
Apparently. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I do. Again, I still. Yeah, wild. Uh, okay. So now the question is, what do you do with the people who have been associated with Epstein, but have not and will not be charged with crimes, whether or not they did anything or not? But the FBI is apparently not looking into him any further. Like, what do you do with Bill Gates? Like, you're running the next TED Talk conference or whatever those are called, and Bill Gates calls and he's like, I kind of need to rehab my image, and I'd like to do one of these TED Talks.
I think it's important to recognize that cancel culture is one of those things that I think has gone too far in many ways.
Okay.
And that people should be allowed to change and change their opinion, especially.
Okay.
I think when it comes to matters like this, I don't care. I don't care that a rich billionaire had sex with prostitutes. I don't care about that.
Okay.
What I do care about is associating with someone on that level that has clearly molested children.
Mm.
And yeah, I think you can separate those two things. If there's knowledge of what he was and you still worked with him and had discussions and emails and back and forth and went to his island or procured his services, then I don't think there's a place for you in modern society. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't bring him on for a TED Talk.
Yeah.
I'd tell him to fix Windows because it sucks right now.
For whatever reason, in my mind immediately went to physical Windows. I was like, why are you telling Bill Gates to fix Windows? Right. The computer thing. Okay. Yeah, I think we have rights and we have privileges. You have the right, our rights are set forth, Constitution, federal laws, state laws. You have certain rights. Mm-hmm. And then there are also privileges. Being able to, being invited to speak at the Democratic National Convention, the Republican National Convention, and being invited to give TED Talks, and being a member of boards, charitable or otherwise, and being invited to the Grammys, and being being on camera at the Super Bowl and be like, look, this person bought a suite, and you should like them. Mm-hmm. Those are all privileges. And yeah, I think you do something like this. We don't need to think about it that hard. Basically, when someone loses rights because of a broad kind of snap to judgment, rush to judgment, that can be a problem. Mm-hmm. When they lose privileges, I think it's less of a problem. You can afford to be more. you can, with privileges, you can take a broader brush than you would with rights.
Mm.
You don't necessarily need due process. And you know, again, you when people are genuinely innocent of things, you don't want them being labeled as not innocent, and you don't want someone who's guilty solely of like being dumb or having momentary bad judgment.
Uh-huh.
Like that sort of person is less objectionable than someone who, like, say, commits horrendous federal and state crimes. But I do think with privileges, it's generally more okay if you can do guilty until proven innocent.
I think my main issue, and there's a reason there's some moral arguments against things like pornography, where you're not sure always 100% of the time what the consent process was.
Yeah.
And so when I say, like, I don't really care what Bill Gates does, like, that's not 100% true, okay?
Right.
But it's about consent.
Okay.
And the problem is with sex work in general is that that's a very muddy gray area, because even if the women themselves or men or whoever it happens to be is making a decision that, yes, I want to do this for money, like that's like the lowest ethical bar, you know, of you have to consider why they're saying yes, what possible things are going on behind the scenes. You don't know about that person's life. People can be coerced into doing that type of thing, and it's a big reason why platforms like OnlyFans tries to take advantage of this, like, ethical concern of, like, oh, well, everyone that's in here chooses to be here and everything's consensual, and even that's been taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And which is like no duh.
Yeah.
So for me, the issue is when people take other people's agency out of their hands, and or there's the potential of that. It's just a really risky gray area that should give people pause when they're interacting with that person. Like, the whole free will thing is big.
Yeah.
For me, being able to choose, and sometimes people that are in that line of work don't have the right to choose anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when stuff like this comes up, so there are a few different theories of criminal justice. I'm not gonna say this right, and I don't remember all the theories, but one reason that we have punishments for crimes is to deter, in theory, people from committing crimes in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with things like the Epstein files, where there's abuse of women, a tremendous volume of abuse of women, whether it was done by one guy and his female associate, highly dubious, or by everyone listed in the Epstein files, also dubious. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. And maybe it's closer to that first end than the second.
Yeah.
But a strong public reaction to that might serve as a useful deterrent to future activity, where people in positions of immense power, one, take greater care not to offend, like, the law, and then basic standards of decency. Like, it might not be against the law to I was going to say something. I'm pretty sure it was actually probably definitionally sex trafficking. But like if a 26-year-old comes in and shows up to wants to be a sex worker, I don't know all the laws that regulate that, but they are under our laws allowed to do that in certain respects, in certain places, at certain times. Okay.
You just have to define the right terms in the scenario, like
Right.
gifts or whatever.
Right. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. But I think a strong public reaction serves as a deterrent to people who might not exercise sufficient care with things like that. Mm-hmm. And I think it is also not just okay, but good for us as a society to send strong moral signals on certain things. There are certain areas where we don't have to or shouldn't. The idea of giving the laws of any particular church or group of churches that like the power of the state, that is, it can be deeply concerning, and it was one impetus for the First Amendment, things like that. Like we don't want that. However, there are some practices and rules on which we all agree, or enough people agree, that we are going to give it the force of law. And then even beyond that force of law, we can have kind of a general consensus. Like, if you do this thing, we won't put you in prison, but we are also not going to listen to you anymore, and you're not going to be part of our politics. You're not going to be one of our leaders.
It's kind of like throughout history, there's been different different ways to enforce laws. Like if right now, if you're homeless and you're caught being like extremely drunk and can't function, don't know where you are or what you're doing, there's places that they'll take you to detox. And you might get a probation officer on your case about certain things, but sometimes not. But like back in the Roman days, they would like put signs around the necks of drunkards, and it was like basically like public humiliation. And that was their way of, they know alcohol's a problem, but it makes them a lot of money.
Yeah.
But they want to deter people from being publicly drunk because it's disruptive to society, but they don't want to incarcerate, or they don't want to bother with the resources. So instead, they just publicly humiliate them into submission, basically. And you see this on social media where there's this guy that has made a career off of telling people off for doing inappropriate things at the gym. I don't know if you've seen this, but like, no. It'll be like a girl that's working out in like extremely provocative clothing, like next to a guy, and he's doing like an ab exercise or something. And when he's done, he like looks up and sees that this girl's working out, and then she'll post something saying like, he's staring at my butt and all that. And then he'll just be like, this is ridiculous. Like, you're in a public space and he's just existing there, and you can't accuse people of stuff if blah, blah, blah. Or if people post pictures of other people in the locker room, which is, illegal, but they post it to social media and no one's really doing anything about it, then he'll be like, wow, like, you're a terrible person.
Yeah.
Like, no one should like you.
Yeah.
And so that's not a legal thing, but that's like a shame.
Yeah.
So like, I'm sure that the idea behind that is, well, if we just shame enough people about this certain thing, then the behavior will diminish.
Yeah.
And with this stuff, that like the thing that bothers me is that there seems like there's some very concrete illegal things that happen that are just not being explored, because there is a lot of damage to be done with a lot of famous people or political people in general. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing being done on that front. And we're kind of left with just shaming these people who probably, I mean, I maybe there's like a Discord group of all these billionaires talking to each other, being like, "Haha, no one's gonna be able to do anything because blah blah blah." But
Yeah. Who's making the payment this time?
yeah, haha, only losers aren't on the Epstein list. Like, if you're on the Epstein list, that means you're the who's who of the world, and they could be genuinely thinking that. At this point, if there's no repercussions for their actions, then I don't know.
So what you're rooting for is to publicly shame these people.
I think
that's kind of what I was rooting for, I guess.
I think barring an actual, I mean, both should happen.
Right.
But if you can't have one, then the people should do what they can with the evidence available, and not in a violent way. But if there's some shady stuff that's happened and it's written down, like it's evidence, you can see the emails, you can see the pictures. I don't know how you handle that. Like, people are just going to be doing that. We have the internet.
We do have the internet. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks to Al Gore. Yeah. And then the people who are caught up in it, like, you know what? You go retire to a nice private club.
Yeah, boo hoo with your billions of dollars. Just disappear.
Yeah. Go buy a house near Mar-a-Lago, Florida. It's warm. Mar-a-Lago, just a random example.
Yeah.
But go buy a house near there. Get a big TV.
I mean,
golf every day.
Epstein's Island's probably for sale. I mean,
you could buy Epstein. Yeah, you're familiar with it already.
Yeah, you're comfortable.
You know the territory. It's like being home. You know? There you go. They'll be fine. Point being that if you're like, I don't know if we should shame Leon Black for his involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. No, he'll be fine.
Yeah, and you know what?
Do it.
I guess
we don't want people to do what Leon Black did. Don't be sending the $170 million to, convicts.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of convict specifically.
I'm not in support of just blind rage and destruction of careers and stuff like that. But if there's evidence and the government is refusing to act on anything, and maybe at some point you could help explain to me why the government says there's no evidence, like, because there must be some legal stuff I don't understand. But it just seems like there's so many leads that they're just refusing to look into, or they've magically looked through all of them already and have determined that there's no cause. And I just can't believe that. Yeah.
Well, as I saw, ironically, I've seen from a lot of our friends who I think are on the right and voted for Donald Trump. I have a number of friends who have posted stuff about Ghislaine Maxwell being the first person convicted for sex trafficking to no one. Now, granted, I think she did a lot of sex trafficking to Jeffrey Epstein, but still saying like that there were other people involved in this. Who knows? I don't know.
And honestly, this whole thing has made me feel more hopeful about Republicans and Democrats coming together,
because it does seem like there's a broad consensus that pedophilia is gross.
Yes.
And being an elite, like we don't have a ton of sympathy for bajillionaires who are like, I'm going to go to sex parties with, underage girls from Lithuania.
I mean, they might have a blind spot for a particular celebrity they like.
Sure.
Or they might be able to excuse away certain things for somebody that aligns with them politically. But
yeah,
it seems to be the most part of, let's get everyone that's involved some justice. And this is not something that we can just blow over and pretend like it never happened. Like, I feel like this is an issue that enough people care about that they're going to be forced to do something. And if they don't, then there's going to be a problem. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that amounts to, but I feel strangely more hopeful about, like, meeting people where they're at on either side of the political spectrum, because we can agree on something as basic as pedophiles are not so
bad.
great. Yeah.
By the way, I just want to add with this. So Brad Karp, who was until recently the head of Paul Weiss, Paul Weiss, Rifkind, Wharton, and Garrison. It's a very good law firm based in New York. Actually had an offer to work there. Chose not to. Went to another firm.
Your loss?
Yeah, shame. It had nothing to do with Brad Karp, but it's one of the great Wall Street law firms. It's a home office there on 6th Avenue in New York City, Avenue of the Americas. Anyway, so Brad Karp, who I think for the moment was staying on as a partner. Who knows? Anyway, but in a July 2015 email, Karp wrote to Epstein, "I can't thank you enough for including me in an evening I'll never forget," in reference, I think, to a dinner gathering at his house. "It was truly once in a lifetime in every way, though I hope to be invited again." When Epstein replied that there are many, many unites of unique talents, "You'll be invited often," Karp responded, "You're amazing." Here's the thing. That sort of stuff is just so emasculating. And I say emasculating because I don't know the female equivalent for this, but basically he's debasing himself. This guy, and it's for some reason, the reason that strikes me as funny is because he's debasing himself to Jeffrey Epstein, and then I imagine there are a bunch of associates working for him who are like so excited. You know, whenever he gives any positive feedback, it's like they're forwarding it to their parents. Like this is a big, like that is making their week to get a positive, positive feedback from Brad Karp, the head of Paul Weiss. Granted, at that point, he's probably not actually practicing, but anyway, there are a lot of people who really value his opinion, and then he is just debasing himself to a convicted pedophile.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Well, how could you know?
How could you know?
How could you possibly know?
Yeah.
Innocent mistake.
Innocent. Yeah.
He was just being congenial.
Yeah, and enjoyed the dinner.
He's just keeping his business options open. There's nothing weird about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right. That I think was. Do you have any?
I think I've said too much.
No. You said some great things.
I do have opinions, and I just wish there would be either some actual action done against people that they can prosecute, which means they'd have to take this a step further and actually investigate more. Or I would like to have an explanation that makes sense to me as to why they're not continuing with anything, because I don't understand. And it only exacerbates my tendency to be a nihilistic bum head,
distrustful of the government,
that hates everything and doesn't like the government and thinks nothing good is going to happen. Like, none of this is helping.
You're saying
change my opinion on.
You're saying the Epstein files have not restored trust in the government? I think I saw a poll where it was 6% of people think the government has done enough or released enough stuff. It's so given the political stuff, it's a bare majority of Republicans approve of the way the Trump administration is handling it, but not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
something just needs to happen.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. And final thought, I think we reckon. Two final thoughts. One, first, RFK Jr. joined Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell on a fossil hunting expedition on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. So it says taking fossils from this reservation without tribal permission is illegal. Yeah, so I probably shouldn't do that. But then also, so you read a sentence like that. RFK Jr. joined Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell on a fossil hunting expedition on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. I read a sentence like that and I think, oh, the rich people are not like us at all, actually. That's just not something most people will do if they get one vacation a year or one vacation every few years.
It's a real thing where you start viewing this class of people as a different group of people than you, like in every way.
And like,
which cannot be good for society in general.
And there's a big distinction between like RFK Jr., who was born into the closest thing we have to royalty. Yeah. And then his dad and his uncle are murdered when he's young, and like he's genuinely pretty different. There's a difference between that and someone who, you know, like works up and maybe comes from a more or less normal background and then becomes a millionaire or has a big business idea and becomes a billionaire.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it does. Like you hear about stuff like that, and it's like, okay, I have a tougher time relating to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like most people will never have the opportunity to jet off to the Caribbean to subjugate and, you know, abuse people.
Yeah.
Like, no one should do that, but most people will never be invited.
Yeah.
But the other thing I was going to say is that I think we both recognize that the Epstein stuff, while very bad, it's like there are other things that affect people more. Like if you change taxes and, you know, if the economy goes way up or way down or AI explodes and now, you know, 30 million people are out of a job, like these things affect people more in a day-to-day sense. Like, yeah. However, things like the Epstein files dramatically affect, I think, the extent to which people are willing to trust their government, and they do trust their government. And our country is in a weird spot right now where I think a lot of, I don't know, our trust is down. You don't want people to be obedient to, you don't want them to obey laws and believe in the legal system and all that just because they are aware that breaking the law will result in punishment. Like you want people to, you want people to believe in, to believe in their leaders and believe in the government and all that.
Yeah, there's some real psychological damage that happens when you believe there's a class of people that are on a list can get away with whatever they want.
Yeah, like really horrendous moral crimes.
And it breaks like, you know, and if I want to sound pompous, like it breaks the moral fabrics of our society. But it does. Like,
yeah.
If there's no punishment for doing bad things, then go ahead. I don't know. I guess if you believe in God, that's a reason not to. But other than that, if your country's not going to stop you and you can still make all your money and all the connections you want, YOLO.
Yeah. No. This is bad. We don't want that. What we want is you know, a thorough investigation, punishment where appropriate, public shaming where appropriate, and we want the wealthy and powerful to behave well. And if they want to date much younger people, it should be people of legal age who have, we think, almost definitely consented.
Yes.
Like knowingly. You know, they're not coming, like, you know, they're not being abused and they're not being coerced. They have decided that at the age of 22 or whatever that they are interested in dating Bill Gates because they want an entry-level job at Microsoft. Something like that.
Fair.
Okay, well,
we did it.
We did it.
Good job, everyone.
Bye now.
All right, and that was the interview. Thank you very much for listening. If you wouldn't mind, please do leave a review for the podcast. I believe those are important. And subscribe to the newsletter, which will be linked in the show notes, or can be found at neverclosetheinquiry.substack.com. Thanks.